Hello, my name is Joona Nuutinen and this is the first episode of MindScan on YouTube. I used to do this series on my blog, but now I'm taking it to the Unzyme YouTube channel. And today we have a guest from Playground Music Finland, Tommi Muhli.
Hey.
Can you tell us a bit about what you do here at Playground Music?
I'm working as the head of promotion and marketing here here in Finland. And of course, Playground being a pan-Nordic company, and I'm like in charge of the promo and marketing stuff here.
Okay. Do you do collaborations with other Nordic countries?
Yeah, on a daily basis, we work a lot with like independent record labels from all around the world, and I think that we're best known as the distributor and the representator of the independent music in the Scandinavian territory.
Okay, so what kind of services do you offer for indie labels?
We do the normal physical distribution to getting the records to shops, and then we do digital distribution and pitching the music to playlists and for features in the digital service provider platforms. And then we do the promotion and marketing campaigns for the releases here.
Yeah. So how much of your promotional services are for your own artists and how much is divided to like indie labels that you serve?
Mainly with the domestic labels, we only do the distribution side, and that includes the digital pitching to different services. But for the majority of international labels, we do the whole pack, so to say.
Okay.
So we do all the marketing plans, and we do all the normal media servicing and pitching for features and radio promotion and getting booking ads and making ads.
All right.
All the whole thing in a way. So we're the physical representation here in Finland for the label.
Okay. Yeah. So that brings us to today's topic, which is radio. And I would like to talk to you about the impact of radio in Finland, and how do you think, what is the, how important is radio in today's music business?
Important.
Yeah, okay.
It's always been. It's I think with younger generations, it's been declining here in Finland at least. Because at the moment, I think that...
What makes you think so?
It's been studied that the younger generation find their music in the digital world, in the internet. I think YouTube and Spotify and all this streaming services are the main source for new music for them. And but I think that if you want to have a nationwide big success and big build big artist brands that appeal for people over 30s, then you need the radio to have the impact and to make a hit, because it's a bit distorted here in Finland when compared to, for example, the other Scandinavian countries where the older people also have their Spotify premium accounts or Apple Music or whatever. But in Finland we are still pretty much behind in that development. So that's why I think that for older generations and for bigger commercial success, you need the need the more traditional ways to hear the music.
TV and radio.
The TV and radio, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Finland is kind of dragging behind like Sweden and Norway.
Yeah, it's because there was a time in Sweden, for example, that you wouldn't leave a phone shop without the Spotify premium account in it. So in Finland, I think that we had Nokia was really big like player during the time that streaming started, and they had their own streaming platform, and in a way they were pushing it. That was the like pre-Spotify era playlist kind of thing, like personally tailored playlists. And I think that when Nokia in a way disappeared from the market, it kind of had a negative impact on the development of streaming in Finland, and now we're starting to pick up the pace, and it's growing all the time, but still it's when comparing to other Scandinavian territories, it's still we're in
so to reach a certain demographic you need to have radio, but to reach like a younger demographic, then Spotify would be a good way to promote.
And YouTube. I think that those are pretty much the same in size. What comes to that, like people like under 20s or whatever, a bit even more younger. Because I think that radio is really struggling with that really young teen listener target group.
So why do you think that younger people are not interested in radio?
They want music to be on demand, and I think
are they happy with the music selection of the radio?
They're playing the same music that you can find on the most popular playlists on Spotify. So I think that's they are, because they know in a way what they test their music selections quite regularly, and it's radio in a way they know their target group. It's but it's hard to have them listen to something that they don't control themselves. Teens are rebellious and they want to, in a way, they base their choices on their friends' like recommendations and all that. So the playlist world is in digital services is in a way perfect world for youngsters. But of course, I think that still there is a chance for radio, not in the regular like FM world, but maybe more in on demand. That it might be. I think there's lots and lots of potential to get the younger target group to follow certain like special programs and that stuff. If there's a good recommendation, good host, and that they trust, and they can listen to it whenever they want. And they can maybe skip a song if they don't like it and go straight to the next one.
So there is a demand for tastemakers, but not in a sense that it would be on the radio, maybe like
on a certain time or place. So it needs to be so that you can choose whenever you want to hear the program. I think that's where it's going. At least with the younger generation. For the working people, it's more, you know, you have your office radio on and someone picks a radio station and you know, and then they listen whatever comes.
Yeah, anything that is on becomes popular.
Yeah.
Right. So how should an indie artist approach radio? Do you think that there is value in kind of trying to get radio?
Yeah, sure. Like I said, I still think that radio in many ways is really powerful in creating these like successes. And I think what is an indie? That's I think that's the main thing. If because indie means so many different things.
Well, I think that for me it's like a self-published release. So is there any chance for a self-published song to get airplay on radio?
Sure. If you have a good song, good story, and a plan that the station feels like their own, and that they can build together, and something that speaks to their target group. Of course, it's not about you know, the listener never really cares about if it's an independent or if it's on major label. It doesn't make any. It doesn't pay. It doesn't make any difference. It's about the artist, and it's about the songs, and it's about the story and the whole package. And I think that the point or the kind of the what the major labels know well is to create a some sort of a specific plan and plan to develop and get the artist to places that in a way the media benefits from. So there needs to be something that builds value for the media as well. So it's not about like if it's a good track or good song, but it's something that would bring value for the media to be with in his or her career. So.
Right. Can you tell an example of that?
From indie world?
Yeah, maybe that would be more interesting, I think.
Well, I can. Yeah, tell a story. I've been working with, for example, Adele for all her albums.
Yeah.
And when I remember when her first her debut album came out, we had this song called "Chasing Pavements," and it was picking up quite well in radio elsewhere. Okay. But it was thought to maybe alternative sounding in the commercial radios here. Yeah. And then the second album came, and we had this single called "Rolling in the Deep." Yeah. And I remember playing it to the heads of music at like the biggest commercial stations here, and they were still like, "This will never be anything in Finland." Oh, really? It's like too difficult. The sound is like, it's really good, but their listeners won't get it. Okay. It's too like this and to that. But of course, in the end, it came up to be like one of the biggest songs ever. Yes. And got her to won her Grammys and whatnot. And but there is I guess that was all about the talent that was about the uniqueness of the artist. It was about the character. She's an interesting character. Of course, we were an independent label, smaller back then than we are now, for example. And of course, they thought that, do we have the muscles to really build this? But with the success from elsewhere, they just needed to say that, okay, in a way, we were wrong, and this is actually really good.
But was that decision based on statistics from other countries, or was it more about the story?
Both.
Yeah.
I think, because if something really explodes outside of Finland, then it can be ignored.
Right.
We're a small market. Well, in many cases, some of those like really like hyped records or singles, from my perspective, when I look at the international media and the charts, and there's nothing in Finland, and because Finns are, their taste in music is like maybe a bit conservative on the mainstream level. And it's really slow to break like new sounds and new ways of new genres and stuff like that. So we are, in that sense, we are also pretty much behind what the other countries are.
Okay. So are there any success stories that have originated from Finland?
Success stories. There's a lot.
Okay.
I think of course we are. I think the music export from Finland is still finding its way. Now, of course, Alma is big news everywhere, but I think that it's more that's something that international labels and international partners have done more than the Finnish music scene, because she's signed to international label, and not in Finland in a way, but of course there's the Rasmus there. Our biggest international success, and they're doing really great with their stuff, and you can, and Sunrise Avenue, Satellite Stories, whatever. There's a lot of different and successes in in the different fields of music, different genres. There's Finland have always been strong in metal. And that's but that's a whole nother world, and that doesn't have anything to do with the radio.
Okay, let's talk about the Facebook post that you did a few months ago about Wiley X, which is the kind of the Finnish equivalent to BBC. BBC Radio 1 or something, and you told that on the top 2,000 songs of Wiley X, there were like 1% of indie labels or indie songs on the top list. So what do you think about that?
Of course, I'm a bit worried, and that's why I wanted to share that news with the people, just to start like discussion about the situation of the independent music and the radio and the playlists in general, because it's quite sad that when looking at those statistics, it seems that the stations don't think that independent labels make music relevant enough for the people, and because I really think it's quite the contrary, because it's most of the music that I love comes from independent labels and independent artists releasing their stuff on their own, and I think that the independent world is in many ways something that fuels the majors, because a lot of the artists that majors pick up are originally like in indies, and everybody's an indie in the beginning, and it's because I really do believe that we, for example, Playground as an independent label, we are faster to react to things. We have the same opportunities to create big successes if we get the chance, and but it's in a way this is really like big topic and big and but it was worrying, and that's why I wanted to.
So has it been on the decline? I mean, the amount of indie songs played on the radio.
During the time that I've worked at Playground, I've been working at an indie label for a bit more than 10 years now.
Okay.
And I think it's always been the same, the same situation. We of course get played, and we do get our like the successes every once in a while.
Okay.
But I think that how would I describe
but
it?
But you feel like you don't get enough chances to get the song really heard, or?
It's. I think that the thing is that the problem is that the sound of the playlists now are really narrow.
Yeah.
It's the way that people are educated to listen to music is being forced into this really small locker, and when a new and innovative artist comes, and you put it into that tube, it's totally out of context, and of course it looks really bad on the statistics, but people miss out shitloads of like excellent art and excellent music because of that. It's and I think that during the years the pipe has gone narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower, and now we're in some synthetic, urban boom, and where like everything is really slick and really and I think that is worrying, and because independent labels are because I think that we're more innovative in a way in the actual art. We develop a lot of new talent and a lot of like new ways of we're building the ways of listening, how music is listened, and how it what is the future of the music. It often more than often comes from independent world, and then the majors and the hit making machine in a way picks up the like the certain angles of the song creating and of the art and makes it into like fine
like very generic.
Yeah, generic way of production, but it's I think that my biggest worry is about the how playlists are educating people to hear music and listen to music. It's
it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, because if you don't hear the options, you don't have the options in that playlist of
you don't
different.
Learn to
you don't learn to hear the different kinds of different genres, different influences. So it kind of narrows down it will soon. It will lead if it continues to go this way. It will lead to a point where all innovative and all new is being considered a threat. Because it makes you skip a song. You make a.
It's always bad.
And that's the like now all the tastemakers and the taste making and the decision making people are looking at the statistics more than listening to the actual music.
Right.
So and that leads to a very narrow path, because
That's true.
And I'm not, in a way, I'm not complaining about about indies not getting enough of the or getting their share of the pie. It's about my worries are in the actual art,
right,
and the great music that people don't get to hear because it's thought as a threat to the system.
Okay. So, how would you like to change this? Do you have any power to persuade radio stations to get some new kind of music played, or how does that work anyway?
I really want to believe that I have the power to change the world. It's of course I represent maybe the key players of the independent music in the whole world. We have all the big players. We are representing them here. We are representing the best new music to the media here, and I think that my responsibility is to continue doing that, representing these great new songs and great new albums, great new artists, and just try to make people realize that looking at the statistics is not the way it should be. It's
so what would be a better way?
I think that maybe opening the gates for a lot of how do I say, more alternative music. I'm not talking about something really obscure things, but just so you open it up for new Adeles, for example, because that was during the time that Adele broke through. That was a new sound. That was something that wasn't heard on the radio. And
that was years ago.
Yeah, that was years ago. And now it's in a way it's more of a brand making machine than actual music is at the moment more about the commercial value than the actual art and actual music. And I just hoping that the gatekeepers would allow more innovative music to the stream of.
So even innovative music can be a business.
Yeah, innovative music can be business. It is a business, and it's. Yeah, I'm just gonna continue and keep on pushing the great music to the people that made the decisions, and try to make them understand that there is following, and then that there is people that really want to hear this, and more people should hear this. And because it's a vicious circle in a way.
I hear what you're saying. So do you get to have a conversation with the decision makers at radio stations?
Yeah, regularly.
Okay.
I do visit them quite often. I should do it more, but we get the chance to talk and represent the music. Of course, them being the radios being quite narrow in their choices, I need to be quite selective, and I need to present them the stuff that fits into their into the mold in a way.
Right.
But so I don't get to present all the coolest stuff that I think that need the attention. But we do have conversations, and I really do understand the way they work and the way they make their decisions. But it's not that I like them.
Yeah, I see. So is there a difference when you go to a commercial radio station or like a tax-paid radio station? So is there a difference in how you prepare for that meeting?
Not really.
Okay.
It's
so they have the same kind of goals.
Well, of course, Yles, they have that cultural and the educational, in a way, that's in the law. That's in the law. They are they should present the new and culturally valuable new stuff. In that sense, I can play them more like more alternatives.
Okay.
And maybe with commercial radio, it's more that I'd maybe select my words a bit like to fit their world, because it's for commercial radios it's all about selling ads, and for national radio is all about keeping the people that listen to the radio listening to this radio, and then possibly get more people there. And for commercials it's all about the ads, and then the brand is maybe more so it needs to fit their, in a way, agenda, and needs to fit their.
So do you study the advertisers of those commercial channels so that the demographics would kind of fit those who advertise already on the channel? Or how do you approach that kind of commercial radio station goal?
I think it's more about that the station has sound. They have some target group, and need to figure out, okay, what is the music that this target group wants to hear, and how they want it to be presented, and then build in a way story that fits that certain type of.
But is that story for the end listener or the radio station's decision maker, or?
That's in a way both.
Okay.
Well, of course, the station is making the programming and all that based on what their listeners want to hear. Yeah. And we need to support that. We need to keep with the song that you present, you want to keep that person listening to the station, listening to the station. Right. And that's something that you need to have in your mindset when...
Okay, so when you're telling about the song, you can actually point some specific features of that song that kind of support the...
their brand.
Right.
And
So do you think that the looks of the band has a lot to do with the whole aesthetics, or I mean the demographics, so that they can actually see that as a part of their target group's like passion or like interests? Or I mean, radio is not a very visual format, but
it's of course everything ties together, and with commercial radios it's also, you know, they think how the artist is present on the other medias, so that it all in a way feeds.
So do you present those when you're bringing your artist to a commercial radio station? Do you present all that other information to them?
I do. Okay. I might show them music video, or if there's some cool visuals, of course. If it's something really worth showing, then I show it. But it's you know, radio is and getting on the radio. It's about the art, like the whole package.
Yeah.
Of course, the good song is in the focus, but the basis of everything. Yeah. But then.
But that's not enough.
That's not enough yet.
Right.
You need to have the whole shebang.
Okay. So, are there any other ways of getting to the radio, like other than like through representatives like yourself?
Yeah, I think if something is really booming, getting a lot of attention.
Attention where?
Attention in other media.
Yeah, like YouTube,
Spotify. Magazines, blogs, whatever. Okay. Whatever makes it something that they notice.
Right.
And of course, stuff gets to the playlist before I get to listen to something, because sometimes because the people that are making the decisions, they are really enthusiastic in what they do. They are constantly following what is going on outside of Finland, and stuff. They pick up the stuff that they think that their listeners will enjoy, and that can come from several different sources.
So do the radio stations pick themselves some artists to play? Can they find that talent by themselves?
Yeah, and well, of course, with commercial stations, it's quite rare that it happens. Yeah. But with, for example, the Yle stations, they have their own these demo submission things where you can send your music and then they can listen to it and pick it up. And of course there's really good journalists working there, so they do the groundwork, they find and seek for new talent, and that's part of their, in a way, their brand, to be the on top of like the new cool stuff. And so it's not always us taking the music there. It might be the artists themselves, or but it's very rare that it happens with the commercial radio. It's Yle stations, and in that sense, it's they do play shitloads of like indie music.
Yeah,
a lot of new tracks and from up and coming artists. But the idea of the reason why I shared the stupid pie on Facebook is that the most played artists and songs are in too many cases something from the major labels and not the independent community.
Yeah. Do you think that if an artist were to represent himself and to get to talk, would want to talk to a radio like decision maker, how do you think that would happen? What would make them interested enough in even having a meeting?
If it's really something worth it.
Where would you start? I'm interested as an indie artist myself.
I wouldn't approach radio if there's a certain like format that they offer where you can present your stuff. Then sure. But because if I was a head of music at some radio station, it would feel, in a way, it would feel a bit bad because you don't want to, you can't be that direct with the artist about, because it's about art, and it's about like encouraging people to continue to be better, to and if my maybe advice for an indie and like independent artist is to do the groundwork, do the shows, promote it to blogs, promote it to different types of mediums, and then hire a publicist if you see that there is a serious momentum that you're missing. Hire a publicist that knows the business and knows how to talk to those people, because it can really feel awkward for the guy or girl making the decision, because the discussion is in many ways not that open, because you wouldn't want to be, as an artist, you wouldn't want to be in the same room when I'm taking the song to the radio, because you don't want to hear that stuff that I talk about. In a way, I'm not talking shit about you, but I need to rip it to bits and pieces.
Right.
Then I need to be honest. I need to be, in a way, it might be too brutal for the artist to hear that, because that is in a way, it is. But it depends on so much on to who you're presenting the stuff to. With commercials, it's more brutal.
Right.
With Yle and maybe Spotify and other streaming services, it's more open, and you can actually talk about the cool production and whatnot. But with
so they kind of filter the news to the artist when you hear them.
Yeah.
That's probably for the best.
I assure you that is for the best.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Because I am an indie artist myself, so it's
right.
So I came to work for the music business from being in bands, and I'm still in a band and making music. So it's I assure you, it's better that you don't get to hear all that.
Okay. So, do you have any advice on how the songs should be selected when they are being presented to radio station people?
Like said many times earlier, it depends so much on to who and what you are to who you're presenting it and what you are presenting.
So you should always be very specific about which song you should select and how it should be presented to the person that is gonna hear the song.
And it's because in the end everything comes to a personal opinion. There is a person making those decisions, and even though the statistics play way too big a role nowadays, it all comes to the opinion of the one person, and you need to be you have the one chance to win that person over. So you should prepare.
Right.
And
so your career depends on how well you prepare for those meetings.
Important meetings. It's brutal, but that's in a way, if you want to make a career on making music and you want to be on the radio, not everybody wants to be on radio, not everybody wants to be on the spotlight of media, and not everybody has to be. There's like a lot of genres that never needed. There needs to be a counterforce in everything. But if you really want to jump into that world and get maybe make a future profession out of music, then you need to practice. Then you need to be better every day in what you do. Then when you are ready, pick the right song, get a publicist, and then present it well with and think about who you are presenting it to, because there is a person making that decision, and
so that the message should be tailored to that person.
And in a way, in your needs and their needs, and of course, it's I don't. I'm working. I'm really glad that I work in a position where I don't have to make tailor-made music for different uses. There is music made, and then we figure out where to put it.
Right.
So
so you don't take the same song to every radio station. You just pick the.
We need to think about who we wanna listen to the song. Who we want to follow the artist. Where is our target group? Who are the ones that could like this, and then find the medium to spread the music.
So that's where your goals kind of across with the
radios.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So finding the right people to
Yeah.
listen the awesome track that you
Yeah.
made.
Okay. Well, I think we have talked enough about radio and how to get there and what indie artists can do to get to the radio. And I have one final question that is relevant to next Eurovision Song Contest. This year, Wiley decided to choose Sara Aalto as the Finnish representative of like the Finland's singer to Eurovision, and they decided to kind of skip the whole UMK Song Contest. What do you feel about that? It was arranged, but they never kind of chose anyone from the contest.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a bad thing, because a lot of I've been following and I've been working with a lot of artists that have applied for that competition, and in a way, I'm not sure if the UMK format has been something that really finds the best of the best to represent the whole industry of music makers in the Eurovision contest. I think it was a bold move.
That's for sure.
And I think Sara Aalto, who from Finland should be representing us in the Eurovision contest. That's she's dramatic. She's extremely talented. She's won the UK people behind her, and maybe that will gain us some votes from outside of Finland. Because we're a small market, we're a small country with we do have international friends and allies, but it's we need more to win it. So maybe this is something. She's current, she's talented, extremely talented singer and performer, and maybe this is right choice. We at least get to choose the track that she's gonna perform. But we're somehow in the process of. But of course, I understand that people got pissed, but it's. I think it's for the better.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Let's hope that we get to hear more music from Playground on the radio.
Yeah. Thanks. I hope so too.
Thanks.